Hey guys, Vena Kim Kane here. Have you ever thought about how fear affects our lives and our relationships? Maybe you have a goal but feel a little nervous working towards fulfilling them. Coming up, we have a video on fear and how we can make it a little bit easier to deal with it.
This recording is intended for entertainment purposes only. Please do not watch or listen while driving or in any situation where it is not safe to relax or fall asleep.
Fear. Just saying the word conjures up so many different emotions. To me, it feels kind of heavy, a little scary. I kind of picture a darkness. And it just may be indicative of where I am or my relationship to the idea of fear, the concept of fear, the word fear. Because in a lot of ways, I feel like words only have the energy we give it. It's such a broad topic, I'll say, because it permeates so much of our lives and can affect our lives in bigger ways than we even realize. So this idea of fear has been sort of floating through my mind lately. Just thinking about how it manifests as I sit and deeply think about it. There's so many different ways that people deal with fear in their lives. Sometimes healthy, other times not so healthy. But what is at the root of fear? So if you can, try to bring up an image or a situation in your life right now where you feel fear. And just noticing the emotions you're feeling now. Maybe even the bodily sensations you're feeling now. And just sitting with it. Loosening that belly. And bringing to mind the idea of just welcoming it. Just like any other good, quote-unquote, emotions. Welcoming emotions and feelings like fear, even though they feel harder to befriend. There's an article I came across on mindful.org titled Face Fear and Keep Going, written by Khalil Gibran on May 15th, 2016. And I'll include the link to the article in the video description below if you'd like to read the whole thing. But it's called Face Fear and Keep Going. And under the title, at the beginning of the article, it says, "Fear, while critically necessary for life itself, can be horrifying and crippling. It can also eat away at us day in and day out. And yet, welcoming our fear turns out to be the best way to conquer it over and over again. And it touches on two things that I find interesting about fear and many other emotions we have in life. And it's sort of the idea of it serving a purpose and being necessary, as fear does have a role in being or trying to be a positive force in our life, or being able to be a positive force in our life, but also preventing it from overtaking us and our thoughts, and us allowing it to run wild in our minds, that it keeps us from pursuing the things that we're afraid of doing. This reminds me about a time I sat with a friend and we were talking about things we wanted to do in our lives, but for some reason we weren't moving forward with some of these ideas. And we talked about the idea of doing it afraid. And sometimes that's necessary if the situation is right. But it's a lot harder than it sounds. She also made a great video on it, which I'll also include in the link. I'll include the link in the description below the video. But coming back to the article by Carolyn Minion called Face Fear and Keep Going, towards the bottom of the article, she talks about 3 ways of working with your fear. And it says, they are all ways of opening yourself to the strong emotion, as if it were a friend you're trying to get to know better. You want to know why the fear is the way it is. And the first way of working with fear that she talks about in the article is titled See the Fear. And it says, this method uses our logical, examining mind to uncover what fear and anxiety are all about. Ask yourself what you're afraid of. Then ask yourself some questions about what you fear. What's the worst that can happen? Can I do anything to change the situation that frightens me? Look more closely at what you're afraid of. See if you can break it down into smaller pieces. Is this fear tied up with memories or past experiences? Am I afraid of something happening now that happened before, or that I think will happen in the future? The second way she lists in terms of working with fear is titled Feeling the Fear, or Feel the Fear. And she says, sit with your fear. How does it feel in your body? Does your breathing change when you're afraid? Do you feel other bodily changes? Is there an arc to your fear? Where does it increase, peak, and then subside? If you stay with your fear, neither grasping onto it, nor trying to get rid of it, do you find other feelings beneath or within the fear? Do you find any sadness there? Is there anger? And the third thing listed in the article says, be the fear. And it says this method is deeply intuitive. if you feel able to do so, try to identify with the fear completely. Be the fear. In this case, there's no difference between the fear and you. Who is afraid? What is there to be afraid of? In that last one, for some reason I get the image at the end of The Wizard of Oz where Dorothy meets the wizard, and the idea of the wizard, that it's really big and grand and scary, and we realize at the end that he's a man behind a curtain, quite literally, who seems to be just as fearful as Dorothy. So I love the idea of befriending the fear. Also, when in childhood, maybe you thought there were scary monsters under the bed or in the closet, and I remember reading a book where the child finally confronts the fear and opens the closet door to realize that these monsters weren't scary at all, and that they were actually quite sweet. And that may not be the case for all of our fears, of course, but just looking at our fear from a different perspective, coming at it from a state or a perspective of compassion, showing love to our fears, to ourselves, and being soft as we listen to our fears and welcoming it in. So when you're ready, go ahead and find yourself in a comfortable seated or lying somewhere comfortable position. And gently bringing your eyes to a close, maybe taking a deep breath in through your nostrils and just exhaling completely. And just loosening our bellies, relaxing our shoulders away from our ears, letting go of our eyebrows, our jaw, releasing your tongue, just letting your head lay back, maybe at the top of the chair or on your pillow, whether you're sitting down or lying down. If you're at a desk, you can put your head down on your desk and letting your head sink into your arms. And just releasing your belly, letting your hips sink into the chair or the bed. Relaxing your hips, releasing your knees, ankles, and toes. Letting go of your elbows, wrists, and fingers. Taking another deep breath in through your nostrils. Exhaling completely. And taking a minute as you continue to inhale and exhale through your nostrils to think about somewhere in your life you feel fear. And as you bring that thought to mind, just noticing how your body feels. If you're feeling it in a certain part of your body, just relaxing and taking a deep breath into it. Inhaling, welcoming the thought, welcoming the feeling. And exhale all the way, releasing any tension. Just noticing now what that fear is, what it's about. Am I afraid to be alone? Am I afraid of being judged? What is it that I'm afraid of? And again, continuing to breathe deeply in and exhaling. Just noticing your emotions changing. Maybe sensations in your body changing. Maybe even bringing your hands to your heart and showing yourself some compassion. Telling your fears or telling your fear that they're welcome and that it's okay that they're here. Listening to what your fear is saying to you. Thanking your fear on an inhale. Inhaling, telling yourself in your mind to your fears, thank you for being here. Inhaling, repeating, thank you for trying to keep me safe. Inhaling, telling your fears, thank you. And then exhaling, releasing them. Inhaling, feeling gratitude. And exhaling, releasing your fears. And just repeating that a few more times, or as long as you feel is necessary. Keeping your hands at your heart or laying your hands gently back down by your side. Just noticing any tension in your body right now. Just releasing your tension as you exhale. And we'll end with a poem on fear by Khalil Gibran. It is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. She looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road, crossing forests and villages. And in front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter, there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no other way. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear. because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Thank you for listening.